What is good, and welcome once again, everybody, to another exciting episode of the Culture Society podcast. Yeah, where we always strive to give you the latest in news, information, entertainment, and discuss topics that just make you ponder, make you think, wet the palate, if you will, of the mind, in hopes that you continue similar conversations amongst yourselves. It's your guy, Marco Glorious, once again. And we got a little bit of a new squad today.
Yes.
Back
excited.
again. Excited, very excited.
The beautiful girl over here. And then we got some more muscles for you ladies. Chocolate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's country time. It's country time. Your favorite lemonade. We in there. Stir it up.
And we sipping on something Marco brought. This,
We are
what is it?
sipping.
Espresso tequila?
Listen, wait, what? We're not getting a check. This is coffee.
coffee.
Is it
Exactly.
coffee? Okay.
That's
We got
what-
something to drink.
Yeah. And I
Um,
missed the last podcast. Miyanna Mora here.
Absolutely. She's
Miss it.
here back again.
Here with the one and only country time, Mr. Wright, in the house.
Ooh,
Yes.
That's a nice voice. This is Ayoola from Philadelphia.
Let me find
Oh,
out.
no.
No, so facts, real quick. I gotta let them know. Me and Country, we actually used to sing together.
Yeah.
We
used
were
to
in
do
a
it.
Let me
group.
find out.
We were in a matter of fact, it was a super group.
It was a dope group.
We were in a couple groups. Yeah, so Country definitely has a voice. I just used to, I was in the background.
Y'all gotta throw that
Marco
track
got a
on the
voice,
end.
too.
Y'all gotta throw the track on the end at the
Yeah.
credits
You know
because
what
I
I
want to
mean?
hear that because the voices are sounding nice.
Absolutely.
But yeah, today the topic at
Oh, they have to
hand.
give their names, your names, guys.
Oh, they
Your
did.
name. Oh, they did?
Yeah,
Okay.
they did.
Oh, I didn't hear.
Look at she just mesmerized by the country
Sorry.
Mhm.
But the topic at hand today is a very serious topic actually. Alligator kids, like that phrase. I have to thank you, Miyanna, because up until a few weeks ago, I wasn't familiar with the phrase alligator kids, and you actually put me on, and I was like, wow.
Mhm.
So I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to just maybe introduce like exactly what you want to say today.
Yeah, so basically, alligator kids or alligator babies is usually the term that they use. There's a lot of trinkets going around, like especially if you go down south. A lot of trinkets you'll see, like, alligators with the little baby sticking out of its mouth, or there'll be like, paintings of black kids next to alligators and stuff like that. And then back in the slave days, they actually used to feed black babies and black toddlers to alligators.
Absolutely.
Wait, so that's crazy.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Like so a lot of people, I did some research. A lot of people say that they thought that this was just folklore.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of art around
Yeah.
it.
But if you continue to do your research, especially, it wasn't something that was prevalent throughout the whole country, but more so in Florida.
And the bayous.
Yeah, around that area.
And that's
Um,
because that's where alligators are more prominently found. They're
Ex-
only found in like the Florida area and a smaller version in China.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Mhm.
100%. So they used to use, black babies as live bait for these alligators because I don't know if people realize, but hunting alligators is a very difficult. Alligators are a very difficult animal for a hunter to hunt.
Absolutely, because alligators are very, very intelligent. They're
Mm.
very intelligent
Very
creatures.
territorial also, and they're
Absolutely.
huge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to get the big bulls is what they were after, basically, and for some reason, this is what worked for them.
Yeah, I'm like you, Marco. I'm very Miyanna told me about it yesterday, and over the phone, I like viscerally felt myself getting upset because we hear slavery and we hear about the traumatic, cruel things they do to adults. We rarely hear about how they treated our children, and this is the most extreme, and it's very cruel and disgusting.
I mean, keep in mind, Black lives did not matter back then. Like we
At
were
all.
looked at as 3/5
Mhm.
3/5 of a human being.
Now, you know what's interesting that you say that.
Say it.
It says that you say that it's interesting that we were looked at as 3/5 as a human
I know what
being.
you're about to say. I feel it.
But it's in the Constitution today
Mm.
That's crazy.
that you are that, and that we are that, and that
Mm.
being a veteran, right, and not knowing certain things that I know now, I must be honest. I don't think I would have took the oath saying that I will
Mm.
protect this
Mm.
Constitution
Wow.
from all threats, foreign or domestic,
Mm.
knowing that I am still considered
That's
3/5
crazy.
of a human being today.
And that's something that definitely needs to be changed.
I don't mean to get off the subject of alligator babies, but
it's connected though. It trickles
down. I feel like an alligator adult right now. Like for real. Like as times change, and we also know that as things change and we don't deal with certain problems, those problems don't go away. They just grow into bigger problems of the same thing.
And they've become hidden.
So my question now is, who become the alligator? Who's the alligator of today's time?
Country.
Because we never dealt with what happened to our kids then. Now, if we dig deep into the origin of history, there was a lot that was done to adults to keep us in check. But they never had to do anything to keep the children in check.
Well, I think the children is part of the trauma of keeping us in check. When you realize that your baby, your child, every time you have a child, they may not be there tomorrow. And what connecting to your point as being a veteran, knowing that this is the basis in which our slavery, and our country was based on, which is slavery, and really psychopathic tendencies of our country. And you think that now we're still struggling with the same issues, and you look at our Congress and they're not really doing a lot to undo the wrongs. We're still being run by psychopaths who think that the ramifications don't have to be dealt with.
It's crazy that there's still memorabilia that's, you know, that and the trinkets, like you said, Miyanna, that is still sold in certain areas of the South.
Absolutely. Like if you go in certain households, you will see them hung up as just like decoration pieces by poor Black families, because you have no,
they don't have
you have no knowledge of it.
That's
even
crazy.
you have the paintings are the little trinkets of the alligator babies. You see the little funny clowns, or the clowns with tears in eyes and stuff like that. Well, we'll say that for another podcast, but we don't even know what the meaning behind that is. You know, and so my grandmother used to play numbers. I'm from a little town called Murfreesboro, North Carolina.
My man, he always big up this town.
A little town called
How many stoplights does it have in the town country?
I think 3.5. But no, like I'm serious. In the whole town, there's one McDonald's.
Wow.
Maybe 2 gas stations. It was 3 gas stations.
Of course, they got to put a McDonald's. You know what McDonald's is doing.
Come on, they got to spread their poison.
Yeah.
Now to go to a mall or anything like that, you had to go out of state.
What?
Wow.
You got to go to Virginia.
Oh my goodness, that's
Absolutely.
crazy.
That's when you were growing up?
Yeah.
Is it still that way?
It's a little worse.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Well, real quick, though, how long have you been in New York now, though?
Too long.
Damn.
No,
wait.
I would say no. I would say a little over 10 years.
Okay.
A little over 10 years now. But long story short, my grandmother go right outside of North Carolina to Virginia to play her numbers. And we'll always pass this flea market. And they had a bunch of stuff out. I'm talking about, they had a giant, enormous trinket, a little statue of an alligator with his mouth open.
What?
And the baby reaching like this for
Hanging
help
What?
out of the mouth in the front yard.
Wow.
And my grandmother will pull up. Yeah, well, we don't know what we're looking at.
don't
Of
know.
course.
But you
I'm
didn't
from
know.
here.
But did you know it at the time?
Nobody, of course not.
Nobody
Wow.
knows. Yeah, a lot of people don't know about this topic.
If we knew about that,
Yeah.
we probably wouldn't even be liking some of the music we listen to.
Correct.
Right
Can I
now.
say something? Because I consider myself to be a fairly intelligent individual, and I just found out about alligator babies and kids. Like, I'm surprised at myself, but if I'm just finding out, you got to believe that many people are just like me. And I've read something that I'm gonna show y'all, but like I have it here. Back then, a very popular licorice company, like you know what I'm about to say, a candy company, actually they put the picture of an alligator eating like a bug-eyed Black baby.
Yes.
And the ad said, like, it read, a dainty little morsel.
Yes.
And for decades, this candy company referred to this candy as the candy was called nigger babies.
I have the same notes. Yeah.
Oh, word?
I read that.
But the funny thing is, the name of nigger babies was actually changed to it was shortened to nibs. And it's still marketed today.
It's still around.
As
and can I show you? I'm going to show you a picture
I want to see.
of the company.
There it is.
What?
There it is.
Twizzlers.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say it, but you said
there it is.
Twizzlers.
That's nuts.
I didn't go as far as to find it because I was like, I've never heard of this brand. It must be just down south. It's a very popular candy.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God! Yeah, I thought that was
Absolutely.
something like in a different country or something.
Mind-boggling.
now it's like, damn, like you're still continuing that name Nibs,
Yeah.
even when you know the connotation was so disgraceful, so despicable. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's terrible, but this country's underlying. I mean, a lot of it is being exposed in this day and age.
Yeah.
But this country's
Oh my goodness.
underlying foundation has been built on hate.
Yes.
and so much against people of color. Like, not for nothing, I have to address something real quick. The first podcast that we did, we appreciate a lot of the support that we got, a lot of viewers, but there was a lot of people that were coming after some of us in the comments, and it's like, wow, I appreciate you watching the podcast. I even asked one of the individuals, I was like, hey, I see that you have a very strong opinion. Would you like to come and share your opinion with us on the podcast? And he declined. But my thing is, it's like, there's a reason when Miyanna, that first podcast, she mentioned something about her having to instill in her children that them being dark-skinned children, that, hey, you are beautiful no matter what, because society isn't going to tell them that.
Exactly.
And somebody in the comments was like, yo, she's a black supremacist.
Yeah, I'm raising black
which is
supremacists.
ridiculous.
My loving kids. I'm like, what?
I commend you, Miyanna, because as a parent, you have to make a conscious effort to instill self-esteem in your children.
100%.
When you don't, society will instill that low self-esteem. And within our community itself, darker skinned children are brought down. I have a sister who's lighter, and not until like recently as a grown adult have I started to see that, why didn't I have as much confidence as her? And I had a personality, I was friendly. It's because she got the subliminal messages that she was better. And
Exactly.
I in myself subliminally connect and see lighter skinned people as better.
Absolutely.
Why would I have that in me unless it was taught to me from a young age without words, without direct words? It's very subliminal. So we have to, Miyanna, I commend you because we have to be direct advocates for our children.
No, 100%. Look at social studies. Like in social studies, they're taught about the wars and us winning wars and all this stuff. Everything's white focus.
Absolutely.
Nothing about basically the queens that were ruling
African
Egypt at 12 years old.
It's like probably like one line in our history books about Egypt.
But then slaves. My kids know about slaves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then they still paint Egyptian queens as a lighter skin color.
Yeah.
You know?
Where is Egypt? Where is Egypt?
Yeah, in Africa.
I have not seen them paint her as a lighter skinned person. She's been white.
You're right. White and blue eyes. You're right.
I feel my Paul Moody coming on.
Paul Moody!
And it's hard to survive in Africa with that lighter skin. Like, you have to have some color.
You know, it's the truth. And just to let our audience know basically about the alligator babies, so what the plantation owners would do is they would steal the infants, and they would steal up to, if I'm not mistaken, 3 years old toddlers. They would steal them from the slaves, up to 3 a day, and they would tie them up. The alligators would put them in the water. The alligators would come swallow them almost whole.
Yeah.
Then they would pull them out of the water by the rope, like the alligator, hit the alligator on the head, and do what they have to
alligator
do.
fishing,
But at the end of the day, think about the baby was
That's
probably
the bait.
still alive.
That's the bait. That's the
was
bait.
still, basically going through a struggle as it was dying. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, just that depiction is cruel, but I also question, was it even necessary? Because I did some research on the things that alligators eat. They eat river otters, hogs, pigs, chickens, large fish. There's
around the same size as a child.
Yeah, there's no denying that those animals were available for the slave owners and these cruel people to do that. So to me, it seemed like a very cruel trend to do that, like it was a sport, and it's just disgusting.
But you got to think about the mindset of the person first and foremost. Like, I got to say that is, compared to a lot of things that they're doing, is have to be one of the most kind gestures, the kindest gestures. Now think about it. The reason why.
Real quick,
deep, Mike. That's deep.
I'm gonna say something real quick because this gentleman right here, my brother, put me on to something years ago that I was just even shocked existed as far as a form of entertainment in our country and history. There's a movie called Uncle Tom. Tell me what I'm talking about.
Goodbye, Uncle Tom.
Goodbye, Uncle Tom. Has anyone seen it? Heard of it?
Mm-mm.
No, you don't. I mean, I don't blame them for not hearing about a country because they tried to remove that out of history.
It was actually banned from the United States of America.
What?
Wow.
Goodbye, Uncle Tom, and Sankofa.
Wow.
Absolutely. It was actually banned from the United States of America during the Black Power period when the Black Panthers arose of that, when it was discouraging the rise of the consciousness of the black man, because during that time, you're most gung-ho and you're most conscious of the black community.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
No, of the black community was the black woman, not the black man.
Yeah.
The black woman, because everybody know that the foundation of a man is the woman.
Exactly.
The man is the head, but the woman is the influence that turns the neck.
No, it's the truth, and a lot of people don't think about it like that.
Yeah, what happened in the movie though?
So I saw it's very hard for you to find this movie. You could probably catch it on YouTube.
Okay.
They're
But
taking it off now. I
Have
know
they?
Sankofa is totally gone now.
I saw it. I didn't even get to I needed to rewatch it a few times, but it's a movie that you're watching and you're seeing and you're questioning, is this a movie? Are these actors? Like, you're seeing, there's one part of a movie where I see this white guy, takes a black baby, holds him by
So it's a documentary.
Oh
Yes.
Whoa.
It is.
Is it though?
Yes, it is. It's
I
a
feel-
documentary done by some French guys.
Oh my god.
But they didn't dress it up as a
No,
documentary.
they didn't.
They made it like a movie.
Yes, they
Correct.
did, because there was certain things that they was actually taking part in.
What did they do with the black baby?
I don't know. I
Now,
don't want to hear
the
it.
part
Oh my
the
god.
part where he's talking about the black babies. Now, okay, now we're getting into something different. Now we're getting to actually like profanity and why certain words is used as that. Like, bitch is not used as a term to downgrade a female. Oh, you stupid bitch. Bitch is a term for a female because you're looked at as dog. As dog, like a dog wasn't even a female dog
is
wasn't
called a bit,
yeah, but it was considered a dog. A black woman, African woman was considered a bitch, and any babies that she would have were considered pups. And in the documentary, it shows us going to the veterinarian because we're looked at as 3/5 of a human being. We're animals, you understand? So we're going to the vet. We're going to the vet. You understand what I'm saying?
And
so
that they depicted that in the movie.
Absolutely.
Yo, I was shocked.
What did they do with the dinkling baby?
No, that's
about
that's
to
how.
cry.
It was
Oh my
just
God.
crazy to see somebody. That wasn't it wasn't a fake baby. It was a real
in real time.
Mhm.
Everything is happening in real time, and it's just the fact that you're being handled as they see you. They see you as animals, so you're being handled as animals. You understand?
Listen, I don't know. They might try to flag us again on YouTube. We've been
It is what it is, though.
I'm so sensitive to that. Like, even this, the alligator bait. They would call the babies alligator bait.
Yeah.
And I was so traumatized. I was like, do I really want to go into this and dive into YouTube? Because I felt like I was going to have nightmares. I felt like it was going to make me feel some type of way about protecting my child. And Miyanna and I were talking about the PTSD and the trauma that's caused by being exposed to some of this information.
Oh my God.
And
it made me angry.
Yeah,
like literally after me reading, listening to the alligator kids and stuff like that. Like, I sat there and I was almost 100% racist.
I was about to get a panic attack.
I was sitting there and I'm like, yo, you did that to us? Like, yo, I'm a mom. Like, I would have flipped out. Like, it would have been on and popping on that plantation.
You would
like,
have been dead though.
I know I would have been dead, but it would have been on and popping.
No,
now, might interject real quick. Now, imagine what the slaves, the men who are looking at the women like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? Poisonous fucking food. Like what the fuck is going on? Like the divide is so crazy.
And the woman is looking at the man. Why don't you do something? You supposed to be our man.
Absolutely. Now,
meanwhile, everybody's traumatized, has PTSD, and can't feel like they can't do anything because then they would literally lose their life.
Absolutely. And then let's say you have the slave, the baby. Yeah. That's all he or she knows. That is born into that. So they like that. They can't wait to please master.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Versus that Mandingo out there working, being whipped, and he hate him, and he want to get away.
That fear runs so deep.
And he's looking like, you look like me, but you're not with me. Type. Like enemy behind.
It's about survival,
type.
though. It's about survival. The mentality is
Mhm.
about survival, and you can see how that mindset has trickled down into our society now, where impoverished people are hopeless.
Not even hopeless. But I fully understand what you mean, but I see it slightly different. When I look at society today, I see the vast majority of us volunteering to do this exact same things that our ancestors fought and was killed to not do.
Can you give us an example?
Oh my God,
please.
There's so many examples.
I mean, I agree with you.
I'm trying to be safe because you know me.
I know you.
Now
that's why I brought you, son.
Culture society is a little dangerous, so you could go on.
That's what it is. Then let's dig right on into it. Come on, let's go in and stir this country
Altoid,
time
would
up.
you like an Altoid before you proceed, my brother?
I may need one.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate you.
Cleanse the palate. Matter of fact, that's not an Altoid. That's just a mint. Unless they cut me a check.
Yes, that mint, that green mint, that nice one. Now, so what I see us doing today, like the term Southern Comfort. The term Southern Comfort.
Which is nasty, by the way.
Yeah, the drink?
It's nasty.
Yeah, it's nasty, but
nasty.
It's strong.
But let's talk
proof.
about the thing behind it, yeah.
She
But the
be
alcohol
drinking.
behind it.
She be drinking.
Man, I be like, I
She
like
be
my
drinking.
throat. Let me keep it.
All right. So it's term Southern Comfort when the bed wench, the black girl who sleeps in the master suite. Yet it's not the master bedroom, but it's the guest room. Now that's where his maid slept. His bed wench, his bed warmer, that black girl stayed there happily, even prepared his food. His friends come over. She's the comfort girl. Southern Comfort.
Wow.
You understand? Now.
That's where it derives from? Damn.
And so just to say I didn't drink that drink anymore and I couldn't stand nobody
That's
saying,
like
some of that
Twizzlers.
Southern
The movies will
give me
never
some
be
of that
the
Southern
same.
hospitality.
Because
Oh
you're the
my
most
God,
Southern
I will
here.
fight.
Well,
See, I love how educated you are because I think for me, I like to be happy. So sometimes I am in denial about receiving this information because I do not want to be depressed.
Ignorance
Thank you so much.
is bliss. Not to say that you're
ignorance is literally bliss, and I'm okay with admitting that to an extent. But what do we do with the information? Because I love the information. I want to teach my daughter. I want to teach my child. But I do feel like there's a point where, like Miyanna, I have to raise her self-esteem because this shit is fucking heavy. And I was talking. I'm Trinidadian. So we don't talk about Trinidadian, from Saparia down south. And
well, not to interrupt you, but the good thing of what you're saying is because that is our next topic.
Okay,
raising black kids in America.
Right. And I personally, I feel like it's too heavy as a brick. And my culture, we don't talk about slavery as heavily. It's our culture is really good at be like, that's in the past. Let's focus on now.
Correct. So like I'm half Caribbean. My mother's from St. Kitts. So I totally get that. My mom would be like, I was never a slave. You know, we weren't. I'm like, Mom, we just got dropped. You just got dropped off a little sooner. Like, but yeah, I totally identify. And three of us here are parents, correct?
I'm a parent too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll say. So we all here are parents.
Absolutely.
So,
but I want to get back real quick.
Okay, do your thing.
I want to get back to it real quick. One thing I seen a lot of when I was here in New York, I noticed like a lot of black families be like they have problems finding babysitters and whatnot. Well, a lot of that ties into raising black kids.
Absolutely.
Raise black kids in America. But back to the thing that I see us falling over head over heels to do exactly what our ancestors fought against doing, is entertainment and making money by all means necessary.
No matter what.
This thottish culture is disgusting.
What culture?
The thottish culture, which is that whole over there.
By all means necessary. Now in places like China, thought being a thought and all this other crazy mess that we do that we love. Now think about it. Now think about it. Now we had this whole thing going on about messing with kids and not respecting women and this, that, and the third, right?
Me too.
But the only thing we as people of color glorify, and we don't even see nothing wrong with a child coming out with an album and all that child is talking about is fucking. Now just really think about it. Now let's rewind. Chris Brown loving the life. You understand what I'm saying? Now when he first came out, I wasn't about that. I'm like, I see grown women dance. I'm like, oh, what's that you listening to? Oh, that's that Chris Brown. I'm like, Chris Brown, who's that? I look him up.
He's 15.
This little boy talking about fucking.
That's like
that's
like that reggae artist.
To be fair,
check it out.
I lost my virginity at 15.
I wouldn't be surprised, Nasty Martha.
Come on.
But I think it's
Are you serious?
15 is okay. I've heard younger. I've heard 10.
But I'm talking about the I'm talking about the
glorifying. I see what you're saying.
I'm talking about the glorification.
I know glory.
I'm talking about the glorification of certain things with certain people. Yeah. Now, outside of our race, you have what you call the Jonas Brothers. Right now, they
wore the purity rings for mad long,
virginity rings and the whole that. Now, the women of that race love the hell out of them. You support it like a motherfucker, but you get some kids black talking positive about some virginity. This I ain't doing that. This time the third. If you can't clap your ass to it.
But I have a question.
It ain't getting no.
I have a question. Is it Chris Brown, or is it black people, or is it the people who perpetuate the music? Because the boardrooms don't look like us.
No. I didn't say Chris Brown. Now the boardrooms.
Not a specific example.
I'm just about the music. Period. Now the boardrooms don't have to look like us. Just because the boardrooms don't look like us, do that mean we have to entertain it? That don't mean we got to eat it. Why we can't have a mind of our own?
You know what?
I was thinking the same thing because we are. There are a certain sect of people are lambs. They're leaders and they're lambs, and we need to step up as leaders.
It's tough when you're from Virginia and you know what I'm saying, you grew up in a single parent household like Chris Brown, and he's like, damn, I'm about to be on.
Hold on, wait. Now
I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I know you well, but I got to stop you right there because the devil got to get another spot right now. You understand?
The devil?
Yeah, playing devil advocate.
Okay.
No, not you, but you're playing him. You understand? So I'm going to play the devil killer real quick. Now, I'm not saying nothing about Chris Brown. It's nothing about him whatsoever. He has nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? He's a beautiful dude. You understand what I'm saying?
He was a child.
That's it. That's it. He's just
He's
a
a
child.
pawn. I think
just a child.
I'm talking about
the overall. I'm talking about the overall mindset of us as a collective.
Correct.
People eat what you feed them. Just like in slavery, when we were slaves, we ate what they fed us. People eat what we feed them, and I think our country is becoming more woke. Parents like Miyanna and all of us here who are delving deep, we're thinking critically about how we raise our children and what we have them listen to. I don't listen to hip hop, and I've never.
No hip hop.
You don't listen to hip hop yourself.
Myself, I don't download a lot of the hip hop because I don't understand it, and I'm not into that culture. I don't want to clap my ass for entertainment. I don't see the benefit in my life.
I listen to soca.
I listen to podcasts. I educate my mind.
Listen,
you know?
you can't clap your ass in no podcast, woman.
No, but what about like the child star Vicious? Freaks. He was a baby.
Yes.
He was hardcore with like that real.
But when I was younger, he was crazy. He was decent though. But when I was listening to that music, and one thing I do like about Caribbean music, they always do double entendres and puns because you're a child and you're like, the woman must have a big body and like ride behind the truck and stuff. Yeah. But you thinking as a child.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Ride behind the truck.
So when
I'm sorry.
In
I'm
Carnival,
from North Carolina.
when you
What's
play
going
mass, like there's big trucks that have sound systems and speakers, and people dance behind the trucks. So that's like a thing.
But they also call it a woman. But it's a metaphor for a woman, like a man dancing behind a woman.
Because she's like a truck.
No,
because that booty.
There's also
brick house.
There's always a metaphor in the Caribbean music where the kids can sing it and it means one thing to a child, and then the grown-ups can sing it and it's sexual and it's a lot about cheating and it's a lot about things. But children can sing it and it doesn't sound so vulgar. Now you're hearing pussy thought, all these pornographic vocabulary that's just blatantly in the music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But look at what we big up. Like, all right, Cardi B, right?
Listen,
I guess down with Cardi.
I like her.
I guess down with Cardi.
I
thought you said you don't listen to hip hop, Ayoola.
No, I like her energy as a person.
I
like her. I follow her on Instagram.
Y'all don't only
but
listen
I don't
to
buy
podcasts.
I don't buy her music because I can't play it with my daughter in the car.
Okay, yeah, I don't buy. Listen, I haven't bought music in a long time. Like real talk, I'm letting people know this.
But you're streaming it. You're paying for it still.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't.
One way or another. Yeah.
Correct. But I haven't
through
bought
ads and supporting the ads and supporting Pandora and all those other brands.
I haven't bought Cardi B's music.
That's right. Comb the beard. Come on.
I know he combing.
This is like my thing. This makes me feel good.
Yeah, a little tick.
It's
A
his
little tick.
comfort comb.
It helps me gather my thoughts.
He combing his beard, y'all.
It helps me gather my
It
thoughts.
keeps it thick and it keeps it growing and thick.
Oh wow.
Stimulate.
It's nice. It's a nice
Oh
beard.
shit.
We had a
Look,
masseuse over here.
I'm a massage therapist, so I know this.
I have to say this. Yo, Cardi B, I love you. You understand? But it wouldn't hurt to like. I feel like you got enough money now. You're in a certain place now where you can actually like Cardi B not stupid. You understand? But she know where she get her money from, and look her background, where she came from. She know how she get her money. That's her bread and butter. But let's do a little bit of like after the strip club is empty and everything is cleaned up and the real world type things for the girls who like what's after popping that.
She's trying, but you see what happened to her
She's
like last
trying
week.
to step out of that.
How? Well, I don't know nothing about. I just saw something for the first time in my life last night with her and her promote some new group called City Girls or something like that.
Nah,
I just saw it. I was like, what? I was like, wow, I'm so disappointed. I almost body slammed the TV.
So basically, last week, about a week and a half ago, an old video of hers came out talking about how she used to like drug men and get them for their money. She's like, there's more than one way to get dudes for their money. She was Bill Cosby and cat. She was Bill Cosby and cat.
So you got a stripper slipping Mickeys?
But
that's what strippers.
Common.
There's a lot of strippers.
It's actually common in that culture.
Correct.
That's common. I never heard of this.
Because you country.
Do you go to strip clubs a lot?
Country. Yeah, this is
you take
city
strippers
strippers.
home?
This some New York strippers.
Exactly.
Yeah, like chicks will get you. They'll get you with your
100%.
pants around your ankles, and the next thing you know,
listen,
a whole bunch of dudes rolling with the heat. And be like, yo.
No, see, I never
many
had that
things
problem.
that
I
men
I never
have
did
been doing.
But you got to be wise to the
situation. There's a small
situation.
percentage that women are doing. Many things that men have been doing. There's a small percentage of women that do it. Not saying that it's as common, because just like slavery, women were looked upon as property at some point. So there's a point where a small sect of women started to figure out how they can get over. You know what I mean? And to your point about Cardi, she's trying to climb herself out of that culture. You know what I mean? She grew up in that culture.
But it's hard.
Your past, like sometimes your past comes back to bite you in the ass. And so this video came out and it says like, basically they're trying to say like, yo, they should end their career because it's not going to. But they ended Bill Cosby's career.
That's different. That's
Men
okay.
whoa.
I think women get a little bit more of a pass because we still struggle to make ends meet.
Why? Because you're the weaker sex? Are you saying that you're the weaker sex? No, we are not
the weaker sex. We've been made.
We've been
made.
I'm just saying.
We've been made and suppressed to be the weaker sex by men for since the beginning of time.
So that's why women get a pass.
Please don't say by men. Don't say by men.
The tides are changing. The tides are changing. And I think the time we're in now, Cardi B may still get a pass. Maybe in 10, 20, 50 years, it would not be, she couldn't be allowed to say that. But now, we still have remorse for women because, maybe she's trying to, she's just trying to live and not get raped and take advantage of the way she can. Maybe if she didn't drug that guy, she would get raped. You ever think about it that way?
I have 2 points to bring up on something that you said. You said because we're looking at it like, women are still like this and like that, and we still give remorse to women. We is in who voice matters in that, which I may ask the first thing, like who is we? Like
society.
How much do our voice really matter?
Listen, in trends in society, it's clear that this Me Too and the woman power movement as a trend, people are having conversations about it. So this is the trend amongst us. You may not be having that conversation, but women are having that conversation. And as a group, we will decide whether Cardi B should be, put down because of this, or we should be like, you know what, she gets a pass.
Now,
what do you think?
When you say the Me Too movement, right? Let you chime in on that. We say the Me Too movement. Now, who does it pertain to? Because it seemed like it doesn't pertain to everybody. Like when you said we're doing this and we're moving forward for this, and the third, like it doesn't pertain to everybody across the board.
Well, it's just the beginning of it, and I think just the start of it has an impact. What do you think?
Well, I'm saying so basically a lot of these companies, like they're marketing Cardi B. So a lot of these companies are white owned, basically, and it's all about deteriorating the black community as a whole. So, for instance, with Cardi B, like there was a recent viral video going around of a little girl that was graduating out of kindergarten or something. They asked her what she wanted to do, and she stated she wanted to be a stripper.
What?
Absolutely.
What?
So while she's climbing,
she said that?
Yes, and then people were laughing like it was cute,
like
and
it's
I'm like,
cute. Yeah,
but people
absolutely.
don't understand. Like, being a stripper, there's rape, there's drugs, there's a whole bunch of drama.
It's
Not
dangerous.
just
But
money.
there has to be a context to that, and it is a very dangerous context because there are communities in which girls. I've been exposed to it. I was a youth development activist, and there are communities in which girls are raised to be prostitutes. Girls are raised to be someone's property, and we still suffer from that. Now, do we blame Cardi B? I feel like it's a couple of different balls.
Cardi B.
It's a couple of different balls
She's
that
a
we
product
juggling.
of her environment.
Exactly, and there are a lot of us women who are.
Now, I wasn't saying anything to blame. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying
No,
to blame
yeah,
any single individual.
No.
We understand.
It's not Cardi B's fault. I want the people that's listening to understand this as well.
Correct.
Because we may hear a conversation, I see a conversation, but because it's not said in certain particular ways, somebody that's never even chiming in, or you don't even know that even looking at the conversation may take the wrong thing from it. You understand? You understand what I mean? So I want to say first and foremost, I'm not saying not one singular individual is responsible for that. Now, she's a product of the environment and she's trying to climb up out of that. But while she's climbing up out of that, how is that affecting the mothers of tomorrow?
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
In her climb, you're saying.
Absolutely.
I see what you're saying.
And
with her climb, like, because she's being glorified for what she has been.
It's supposed to be coming out of. But she's doing it on stage.
I would not want
backing it up,
but not for nothing. There's like she's not the first. There's Eve. There's Amber Rose.
All strippers, all dancers.
That doesn't make it right.
Correct.
But it helps.
Right. It shows the cycle that keeps going.
But when are we gonna say, "Damn, you know what? I've made it this far. I may not be where I want to be, but I'm successful enough to say, like, you know what? Let me switch it up real quick."
You're only going to do that when you stop getting paid to do it.
I don't think so. I think Cardi B is evolving, and I think you don't unless you were raised in it. I think Cardi B made a conscious effort to make money so that she can be a musical artist, and she's a very smart individual. She had a goal. Not all women who are in that situation of becoming a stripper have that privilege, and then their daughters may not necessarily have that privilege because strippers who make or dancers who make a lot of money, they're still hustling. They don't make a lot of money like, oh, I can pay my bills. It's just never enough, because you're coming from a certain mentality in which your body is your moneymaker.
When you want the downfall of a race, it's going to start with the top, and it's going to start like you're going to focus on the children. So of course she's going to be heavily marketed and everything that, because at the end of the day, like, it's bigger than her. Like she's a phenomenal artist when it comes to her thing and her character, and she's larger than life, and that's amazing. But it's affecting children.
So do you think that if she stops being her persona, that she will not make as much money?
Absolutely not.
Wait, ask the question again.
If Cardi B changes her persona and she evolves into something that we probably would be more enjoyable talking about.
If Cardi B turned into a Felicia Rashad, would she still be making her Cardi B money?
Monetized?
No.
Absolutely not.
You don't think so? I'm hopeful. Maybe I'm naive. I don't know.
People, as sad as it is, people like the fact that she's ignorant. Or I'm not going to say that she's ignorant, that she comes across ignorant. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's the best people who I've seen that do Cardi B impersonations. Have you seen them? They're funny. They're comedians. But they're white comedians, and they do Cardi B spot on.
And they're focusing on what of her attributes.
I mean, it's her attributes. It's her characteristics, but it's hilarious. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, like
I don't mind seeing Cardi shake it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind it either.
It's entertaining.
I'm not gonna say I mind, but
I'm gonna be the party pooper.
Poop the party.
I'm good.
Poop it.
Party.
Say poop the party. I got my long leg huggies on today.
Oh, damn.
I'm mad she looked.
And chocolate ladies.
But
Thank you for turning on the air in here, because I was hotter than a mug.
I'm
I'm sure that did. I like it hot.
You should take your shirt off then if you hot.
Yeah, that's what I think.
We went from.
Hold on, listen. We went from me to the he to.
They both should
he
take
too.
their shirts off.
From me to the he too.
He too.
Give the camera, give the people who's looking on the camera something, you know.
Damn, nah, they trying to he to me.
We talking about Cardi and like, you know, we're objectifying women over here. Objectify yourself.
Wow.
Objectify yourself.
Y'all see this?
What kind of coffee was that again?
This is strong coffee. This is strong.
Popping in
extra
here.
strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's very difficult to raise black kids in America today. Like, you have to teach them from very young ages to face the world. You have to prepare them inside your own household, which a lot of families don't have to do, but black families have to do. You have to prepare your kids and get them ready for what they have to face outside.
It's difficult to raise children nowadays, like no matter what ethnicity. But people have to realize when we say, hey, it's difficult to raise black children, that doesn't mean that it's not difficult to raise white children or Asian children.
No.
Like, but you have to keep in mind,
doesn't exclude.
Black individuals die for no reason.
Yes. We have a different sect of issues. Yeah,
we die for no reason a lot of the time.
Exactly.
I have to say, even before that, even before we death or anything like that, I say it has a lot to do with black people, like with what we like. Well, I say what we think we like, what we think we
like
enjoy,
that.
what we think we taste, what we're sexually attracted to, our goals and aspirations. Like, if you think about stimuli, how does it affect the mind? Correct. Now, we will all say, oh, everybody don't. Well, what I was always told all the time, everybody don't think like you. We got our own minds. Blah blah blah. Right.
Yeah.
So there are more yous out there. You know,
Say again?
there's more yous out there, and more us's out there woke, explaining things to our children and
Absolutely. Now something I have to think about with what happens within the black family. And it's a lot of things black parents don't deal with because of the complexity of it. And not only that, because you can't give anything that you wasn't giving yourself, or you didn't even know to think of yourself.
You don't know.
Absolutely. So something I found difficult. I'm looking, my little baby girl. And,
how old is she?
Oh.
Oh, and then you have a girl. We all have girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh?
Well, no. Let me be clear.
Be clear.
I have children.
You didn't explain that
no
earlier.
Games. He ain't playing no games.
With an S
He ain't playing no games out here.
S. I got a Z on the end of mine.
Populating the world.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
I love moms.
That's good.
Yeah, I love on moms. Matter of fact, yeah. Anyway, so
is it time to pick them up from school yet?
No, I'm talking about time for more love. But yeah. But no, so check it out. So we say I have my own mind. The question comes to this. I'm like, so how can you say you have your own mind when, if you realize that everything that you was exposed to, all stimuli, went through a certain particular channel, and it was made to be a certain way before even introduced to you. So therefore, you gonna take one of three paths. Like, your path was already preordained for you already.
Correct.
So how would you say, oh, I love who I love, I'm attracted to him for that? Or how would you say, oh, I like that hairstyle, blonde, it don't even fit me, I look so off. And there's so many girls walking around looking like robots right now because you have the same bob weave. You understand what I'm saying? Or the same this, or the same that. So how would you say I have my own anything? How would you even feel like?
You can say that when you raise your children to be autonomous and spiritually grounded. And I know I really work on that with my daughter.
I'm so sorry, but for the average listener right now, can you please explain
she
what you just said?
She educated.
Holy moly.
Beautiful black woman
mean?
Educated. Let me find
I'm
out.
at home. I got the blunt. And I don't know what the hell you just said.
She's not single.
Not
oh my
single.
goodness. Oh man.
There's no ring, but I'm not single. Working on it.
Oh, you saw that. You saw that in my eyes. Like,
I think the reason why black people are so powerful, we were talking about melanin earlier and how powerful it is. It's a dominant gene. when you mix any other race with a color, with someone who has color in their skin, that child naturally adopts the color.
Yes.
It's rare. You might get an albino once in a while.
You might get a lighter skin
or
once in a while. But for the most part, yeah, you're right.
It's because it's a dominant gene. It's stronger. It's able to hold up.
I'm half mixed. I'm half. Like my
but your afro stands
I'm
out.
all mixed, but I'm half black. You know what I meant to say. This coffee is
You bitty bitty, but the black shows, and who knows? You know, some people, the Indian may show more, but it is the dominant gene because being brown helps you to survive in this world.
Correct.
And I say all that to say our basis of culture is based on spirituality, keeping our kids spiritually grounded. We cannot continue exposing them to TV and media and expect them to be guided by those principles. We have to roll back and start to talk to our kids on how does that make you feel, emotions, and preparing them for what's to come.
How do you do that?
Small. My like even my daughter, she, going back to this alligator bait and slavery, I did not feel comfortable teaching my daughter about slavery because I definitely feel it affects children's self-esteem in a very negative way.
That's a lot of Caribbean people.
When they don't understand how to decompose it. How do you teach your child about slavery and not make them feel like, oh, I'm worthless?
I agree.
So,
I agree. I'll cut across you real quick. Like in social studies class, right? The only time we ever heard, or anybody ever heard of a black person doing anything at all was in February.
Yeah,
but it was
exactly.
only, but it was
Exactly.
or the first this or the first that.
Black people breathe.
Yeah.
February.
Absolutely. Little black boy in the back, you come to the front of class. It's February.
You're the student of the month.
So, you can answer the question today. It's February.
But I'm gonna interrupt you. I feel like our children need to be brought up that we came out of slavery. We were resilient physically, mentally, emotionally, socially. We had to be socially apt to be able to deal with the master and go back to our homes and make sure we survive the next day. And this is a message that I want to hear, more so from black families, from teachers, from educators, from advocates.
Yeah.
Because what happens is we teach our kids about slavery. I refuse to watch Roots. It's too traumatizing.
Wait. You never watched Roots?
I've never watched Roots.
There's a new one and an old one.
I walked neither one of them.
Wow,
I walked
you
out of
gotta
the
watch
room.
Roots,
Listen,
though,
I'm a sensitive person. I will cry. I will be depressed for an entire week. I read Precious.
What kind of man you got?
I want to know.
Very
the man,
tolerant.
he's supposed to like, there's certain things. Listen, sweetheart, I'm here with you.
No,
he's woke.
I'm here with you.
He's brown skin.
Okay, I will hold.
He's woke.
Gotta clap.
He's woke.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean,
I'm not
whoever
gonna
you
lie.
love is whoever you love. But I mean, like,
I don't agree.
I
with
feel
that.
like, I mean,
don't agree with
it's
it
bad that I had to validate that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
listen, everybody,
I'm so sorry.
Some more of this coffee. Y'all niggas against me? No.
But why am I hard to put up with then? Why?
Who said that?
You kind of insinuated that.
No, you did when you said he was tolerant. But I'm gonna leave that alone, and I'm gonna sip over
You
here.
said that.
What were you insinuating?
I was insinuating that, hey, somebody else, your significant other, has to like say, because if you're scared to watch certain things that may make you feel a certain type of way, your significant other say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna hold your hand through this, babe.
Okay.
And say, this is something this is like an executive command that we need to watch this together.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's
and
history.
Then deal with my mood and yeah, we're gonna have to go to therapy after this.
No, he might just have to put it down properly in the bedroom.
Yeah, talk to you.
It's all right, babe. You gonna be all right. We gonna be.
You know what? Hold on, time out. That's
you
another
gonna be
another
good.
podcast right
We
there.
just need to learn.
That's another podcast.
Okay,
Oh, wait,
okay.
another one?
I like that
another podcast.
scenario.
I need some more coffee.
I like that scenario.
Who's your man, the
next
comforter or the slayer? Like, that's another
The
podcast.
next podcast is about polygamy and polyandry.
Okay.
Ow,
I don't know about nobody else in my bedroom, but okay.
No, they can have their own.
I could hold your hands and comfort you through this. You and your man. Just saying.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Loving it up.
Hey, Marco G, can you hit me with some of that coffee, please?
I got you. I got you, my
I'm gonna
brother.
need some coffee.
That's some special.
Back to raising kids black
with
in
that
America.
one. Wow.
But
that's good right
it's
there.
not
That's good
easy.
right there.
The
I appreciate
bottle's
that, brother.
empty.
Listen.
It's not easy to raise kids today in general, like Marco said, no matter what color. But raising black kids, I mean, when I think of like Trayvon Martin, that could have been my son.
God.
Man.
That could have been my son.
Oh my
You know
God.
what I'm
How
saying?
how about Sean Bell?
Correct.
Like that's around the times when I first got here, and I went and got me a Sean Bell T-shirt that very next day.
I have a question
Yeah.
for the table. At what age are you guys comfortable to allow your children to walk a block or more by themselves?
I'm uncomfortable 100%.
Listen,
what happened?
At what
That's a good
age would you
question.
be
I'ma tell you.
comfortable in these times to allow your child to walk down the street like a block to the store by themselves?
42.
42. What about
40,
you?
42
I
years
drive
old.
my kids to school every day. Like, I don't play games. Like, I
So-
don't have time for it.
So check it out. When I lived in New York City, prior to me moving upstate New York, my parents would not let me walk anywhere. They wouldn't let me take the train. And there was kids that were doing that were my age and younger.
How old were you?
Yeah.
I was 4th grade. We moved to Newburgh, New York when I was 10.
Okay.
So I started in Newburgh in 5th grade. And even when I started in 5th grade, my mother, my school was in walking distance, but my mom she used to walk me to school, and then I used to be like, Mom, all right, can't keep walking me up in 5th
Chill,
grade.
Mom.
Because you're like, what,
I'm in
11
fifth
at
grade.
that age?
I'm
Yeah,
10. I'm
11,
10.
12.
Yeah, I'm 10.
Okay.
I started 5th grade is 10 and 11. So I'm 10 and I'm realizing like, listen, Mom, I get it, but you gotta let go. But I understood in hindsight. I understand completely.
Do you think that timeline is pushed back now with the
I think it's different. Like, when I was younger, I was allowed to go outside, like,
Yeah.
until the lights came on, and everything like
The
that.
street lights,
But
yeah.
this, what? I'd be
See?
like watching my kids like a hawk.
I
like,
come from an
yo.
immigrant family, and we were never allowed to play outside unless
Really?
one of my parents were sitting on the step watching us, and I wasn't allowed to get. I think my parents had to give up some freedom because I went to a school that was like on the other side of the city. So at 11, I started
In
getting
Philly.
in Philly.
Yeah.
So at 11, I started to go take
Philly,
2
Philly.
trains and 2 buses to school. It took me like literally 2 hours to get to this magnet school. And I think my parents had to let go. And my dad would still even drive me to school in the morning, and I would get back on my own at night. But my daughter is 10 and a half, and I will not allow her.
Yeah.
And I tell her she wants the independence, and she is capable of it. I said, you're intelligent. I don't trust other people.
Yeah, because look what happened to Trayvon Martin. Like,
yeah,
that's
like,
the thing.
Not doing nothing wrong, like,
We moved up to Newburgh, New York from New York City. We were like, we're in the suburbs. This is great. But you have to be like, it doesn't matter.
It does not
Because
matter.
you could be in the suburbs and be a person of color, and they say, hey, this person is dangerous.
Right.
I was
Exactly.
a taller kid when I was, I'm 6'2" now. I was like I stopped growing like towards the latter part of my high school years. So
Yeah.
I was close. I was like 6 foot.
Yeah,
I
you
was
was tall in high school.
I was 5'7".
Tall with his
Y'all went
tongue
to school
moving
together?
around.
I was not. Stop. My tongue was not moving around, Miyanna.
Yes, it
Shut
was.
up.
Wow.
He was mad advanced.
So you mean to tell
raising black kids in America.
Oh,
Hey,
No,
you
listen.
was fresh,
yo.
Marco.
No, you were the one that had older dudes
was
coming
Antoine
from
Fisher.
college to come visit you, Miyanna.
You wasn't
Oh
old
my
enough to walk to the
God.
They
store,
would
but you
come,
was
but
old
I
enough to be
would've-
fresh, huh?
I was not fresh. I just what
I
happened-
lost my virginity at 18.
listen.
I was
I didn't know
Oh
that
my
my
God.
tongue was
Oh my
long,
God. Oh
and then
my
somebody
God.
said, "Yo, you got a long tongue," and I was like, "Word." And then they
They
just
sticking it out everywhere.
Mike is like, oh my God.
listen. That's what happened.
You being nottish.
I was
No,
not,
it was not.
I was not prepared for this.
You
I'm
being
just saying.
nottish.
Like,
I
don't
didn't
have
know.
none of that in my
What
notes.
were we
I don't
talking
know.
about? We were talking about walking
Mad
to
advanced.
I
school.
don't
We were
have-
talking about walking to school.
Miyanna changed the subject. I
Oh
gotta
my
address it.
Hey,
I'm
yo.
just
This
saying.
coffee is good.
But you were talking about the age in which you were allowed to walk to school. Yeah, I gotta stop with the coffee. I'm about to fall out of my chair.
Look, you haven't even drank any coffee.
Did you refill? You refilled while I wasn't looking.
No, not you. I refilled hers.
No,
Question
you
real quick for Miyanna.
Got
Question.
it front.
So with raising black kids in America, right? And with everything we was talking about earlier with Cardi B and music and whatnot, there is a shortage of positive role models, but there's also a shortage of knowledge of knowing what a positive role model is. I feel
Yeah.
like
Is there a shortage of it, or
That's-
is there a lack of interest in it?
No,
That's my question, right.
I think not even a lack of interest, because how can you not be interested in something you don't even know what it is?
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't even
Yeah,
know.
a
You
lot of
don't even
people
know.
don't
You
know.
don't even know.
Mhm.
You don't even know what it is, kid. Like,
I
I mean,
I
with
just-
Lauren.
I just recently, when I decided to do, like, the podcast used to be a different name. It was about the About Black show.
Yeah, Miyanna.
Basically.
Yeah, this was Miyanna's brainchild. She started. It was
Yeah, so-
the About Black show, correct?
And then when I started doing my research, that's when I started becoming awake about everything that's going on. Where I
Mhm.
was like, wait, Jesus, who? Like,
Mhm.
I was like super Christian and everything
Mhm.
like that. Like, yo, everything
oh
started
my
changing
God!
for
So
me.
you did you stumble upon Serapis?
I did not stumble upon that, but I knew that a lot of, like, the stories that are Christian
Mhm.
Yeah.
basically stemmed from African spirituality.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
It's just little
Wow.
pieces of parts of stuff that they did understand, that they could understand,
Exactly.
and they just used to configure it to control other people who knew nothing of
which
it.
most religions are based on. Which is why I don't consider myself religious. I consider myself spiritual. I pray.
So do I.
Say my thank yous. I'm grateful every day, and I think that's the more powerful message to treat our children, and not negating any other culture or religion, but use whatever works for you.
Now, I would say that I was lucky and blessed to have my situation. It was a curse and a blessing.
Which is, what are you talking about?
So I was born in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Don't know. I was born in Brooklyn, Kings County, but I was raised in Murfreesboro, North Carolina. See, my parents broke up when I up here in New York and what have you, and then I was raised by my grandparents and her brothers.
That's why you're dope.
With my great
grandparents. You were born in Brooklyn.
My great aunts and uncles. My great aunts and uncles. I don't have any aunts and uncles. I have great aunts and uncles, and my great grandfather was like basically like my father, just about, you know, and so. My great grandfather would he would say, how do you teach your kids about slavery? How you do this? Because you don't want to traumatize your kids. Yeah. And my great grandfather went a roundabout way about doing everything. He planted seeds. Like he would sit down and he'd have talks with me. I remember my great grandfather would have these talks with me. And I remember one day I was having a problem understanding something, and I was always reading the Bible, but I never understood why no preacher would come from Revelations whatsoever. Nobody would never come from Revelation. They wouldn't even dive into it. My great grandfather told me, he said, "I'm gonna tell you something." Okay, he was a carpenter. He was sitting there. He would carve and make his pipe out of a block of wood. I actually have one.
That's amazing.
I actually have one. He said, "This is how you know, as a man, you're doing something right. Are you doing the right thing?" He said, "Everything has a birthplace. Everything has a mother. Everything has a beginning." He said, if you want to know if you're eating the right thing, if you're liking the right thing, if you're praising the right thing, or if you're even celebrating the right thing, find out where it comes from.
Hey, I like that.
And he just smiled and walked away.
I remember that.
That's an OG. That's an OG.
I was like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Like,
you know now, though.
Oh my God. But if you look at it, I was like, Christmas. Look where Christmas come from. The original Christmas. What is it? What is it about? All holidays. Everything you into or you think you like. Look into it. And what is it about?
So do the table, do your children know the truth about Christmas and some of the fairy tales?
Not yet.
I teach them, with my kids, I taught them about Saint Nick. Like I told them about the real story.
That's how we learn
Saint
in the
Nick.
Caribbean. We learn about Saint Nick from I feel like it's more grounded and it's more realistic.
It is more realistic.
Yeah, it's more realistic because Saint Nick may not visit my home, but he's visiting children who are, less fortunate. And that was what the message was based on, charity.
It's crazy. I had to ask my last relationship. Shorty was just very big on Santa and the Christmas. Easter Bunny. And I'm like, listen, I
love the holiday.
I love the holidays, period.
But the Santa Claus part, I can live without.
But I knew from a young age, so my very first school, I've for the most part, before I moved upstate New York, I was going to private school. So the private schools that I used to go to were religious. And they used to say, hey, this is paganism. This is paganism.
Oh, Santa Claus, wow.
Yeah, like I knew that from pre-K.
Wow.
This is paganism, just so you know.
And it's weird that it's pegged as a Christian holiday.
Correct. Because it's been lost sight of, but I understand. Like it's a feeling, you know what I mean. And it's one thing to you can understand and adopt what your society puts on you. You get that, and you understand it, and you process it. But as you grow and as you learn, you can say, hey, let me make the conscious decision. Like I know this, but I also know that what my parents taught me is this. Like, I knew from a young age my parents were buying gifts. I knew that.
I told my daughter one day, because we were talking about lying. She went to the sleepover, and she was keeping it from me that she didn't have a great time. And honestly, looking back, she was a little too young to be just unsupervised from me with a parent that I didn't know as well as I should.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, Cameron? I'm never going to lie to you again. So this is the truth. She was 6, and I said, there's no Santa Claus, there's no tooth fairy. I've been putting the money under your pillow. I told her, and I actually have a YouTube page. I have a YouTube video, and that's the only video I have on that one channel. And she was like, "What? You went lying? You're a liar."
Right.
she called me a bold-faced liar, and I was like, yes, I'm a liar, but I will not lie to you again.
That's
but
good.
I also told her,
Awesome.
that other children believe this, and it's not your responsibility to tell them the truth, because their parents are trying to teach them a lesson in their own way. And she's 6, and I said, we don't talk about it. So if your friends believe in Santa, it's not your responsibility to undo that.
Consider yourself privileged.
Privileged to know this.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, and that way, so now she gets.
So you got the oldest kid here.
She's 10 and a half. Yeah.
You started early. So.
Let me find out.
That's that Philly. You know how they be in Philly.
Oh my goodness! But she's like a blessing.
Of course, absolutely. Karen.
So another something else. Like,
why you sound so smooth right now, son? You trying to be smooth?
He all Barry White on him.
It's that espresso.
Let me find out.
That's just me. That's me. I'm just Southern with it. You know what I'm saying? No, but this is what happens when you raise a black man on cornbread that's prepared on top of the stove and not in the oven. That's what happens.
Hold on, man.
Right? This is what you get.
I'm a black man that was made with roti.
Roti, curry, anchana,
hey, I ain't mad at you, brother.
Chapati.
I ain't mad at you, brother. But my other thing comes from like instilling like confidence in the child. Like when we look at our average adult today.
Thank you, confidence.
When we look at our average adult of color today, when I first got here, I was like, man, I don't like all that female, all that aftermarket stuff. They're like, country, what the hell you talking about? Aftermarket? I'm like, yeah, like, you go buy a car, but then you go put some rims on it. It don't really fit. So then you got to rearrange the car. You got to do the shots, this, that, and third. You're like, country, God, what are you talking about? I'm like, look at her, man. You can tell she had surgery. Her hips don't match her thighs.
That's a whole other topic. Yes.
A whole nother podcast.
Don't be putting your women.
They be liking the pictures, though.
I know.
Wait. But wait, though. Now check this out.
I get more likes on pictures I do not make a caption of.
You're supposed to. Now check this out. Check this out. Now, if the common senses of us as a collective was intelligent and enlightened, there would be no such thing as Instagram model. There would be no such thing as thought. Where is that? Like it'll be the other way around. It'll be the other way around. There'll be 1,000 Felicia Rashads out here, and maybe 1 or 2 Cardi B's. It's not even Cardi B's fault. You know what? Cardi B is not even the queen of whatever she's doing. It'll be 1,000 or whatever.
I disagree. I think there's another side of the coin to what you're saying, because as an intellectual woman, when you start to evolve, you don't want to be on Instagram. You want to be teaching your children.
How many?
You want to be?
How many is that? Like I'm just saying.
I think I think maybe you're speaking to a different audience. I think there are a lot of educated women. I think there are a lot of woke people in this world. They're not the ones preaching on Instagram.
But it's up to the woke women to basically set an example. For instance, like me, doing my motivational words like every morning with my kids.
And I commend you for that.
Thank you. I have a girl in Africa who actually was like, I saw what you do with your kids, and I'm about to start doing that with my kids. And
look at that,
whatever.
Beautiful.
But yeah, so it's like with me, I put my kids out there. I'm a single woman, and like. I'm like, what are you guys hiding your kids for? Like, that's your number one priority. And I get so much love from men just because of how I'm with my kids.
And that's great. I commend you for that. And I've thought
of
that.
That's not why you get the love.
That's a heavy burden. That's a heavy burden. Yeah. But I disagree. I think there are a lot more woke people out here. You just don't hear them speaking about it.
But I'm going to say,
because not everybody's a teacher.
Listen, I'm going to say this. Even the woke people, there's a lot, woke is right now cool. Just like vegan is cool. It's cool as fuck.
It's a trend. It's cool to look like it.
It's like, I'm a vegan. You still eating pizza.
Like, I'm a vegetarian.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like,
because they didn't look up the true definition of a vegan.
But it's like, okay, this is what the trend is to be woke. Awesome. But are you really paying attention to what it means?
No.
People aren't. You know what I'm saying? And there's very intelligent people. There's very intelligent people who still want to be cool.
People want to be cool. But see what you just did? People are trying. But people are trying, and you're breaking down their wokeness because they're trying to get to different levels. You know what I mean? So even me,
let me say this. I have a problem with intelligent people that I'm like, yo, you are intelligent as fuck. I see you're brilliant. I've dealt with people who are brilliant, and your priority is still trying to be cool. You rather be cool
because they're dealing with that in an egotistical way, and part of that is, and part of the people who are woke aren't going to be dealing with a ton of ego. And in a sense, us all here, you have to have an ego because you have to speak, you have to say the right things for people to like you in a sense. Mm-hmm. So there's a balance to it. You cannot get rid of your ego in order to become popular because you're trying to convert those people who are on a superficial level. No offense to anyone out there. You're trying to convert people.
My thing is though, because it's like,
you ever speak to somebody who's deep down Zen? They sound ridiculous.
But being woke is popular for men, black men, but it's not popular for black women.
Why you say that?
Because look at it on Instagram. Woke men are super popular.
Right.
Everybody.
I follow this one girl.
Women have different standards.
One minute, please.
No, but everybody's commenting on the black man's thing. All women, you'll see them commenting. This is our. But a woke woman is not going to get that much of a following.
No,
I follow this one girl. I forget her name.
Well, they're not going to get the. I
believe that.
With
you
black
get more
women,
criticism.
More black women are showing this, that, whatever, to get their popularity and sexualizing everything.
Yes.
But woke black women, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Why you
woke
say
black
that?
men are different. Woke black men is like, oh my goodness, he's woke, he's sexy, he's this, that, whatever.
Wait, how do you know what he looks like?
That's the total opposite.
Listen, when you go on Instagram, you say something smart. Someone told me, they was like, you say too much on your captions. I started posting my captions with my pictures with no captions.
Who said that?
So many more followers.
Really?
Many more. Like, people don't want you to have an identity. They don't want to have to think. They don't want to be challenged. Be quiet and be pretty, especially from women.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Personally, I don't like that.
Let me post without my makeup on.
Without makeup?
Why would you post that? Yes.
Wait, I'm confused. You said if you posted without
makeup?
makeup?
If I posted without makeup, I would get a lot less likes.
Oh, yeah.
It's superficial, and that is what's popular, being superficial.
I feel like it's the opposite way around. Like, let me touch back on what we was talking about earlier. You can get the videos we was talking about earlier. Goodbye Uncle Tom and Sankofa from my brother Nova from the Conscious Corner on 125th Street, right across from the Apollo Theater.
Oh wow!
Yeah, all a bunch of videos and anything you can think of. I want to check into.
Definitely.
Get in contact with me. I'll plug you up with that. And anybody listening to it, if you want to get in contact with anybody or any information with enlightenment, do so. Now, the problem that I have when you said that conscious black men get more love than conscious black women, right? Now, wow, I see it the opposite. I guess because I'm a black male myself, but I'm not up on social media with it. But I posted on social media. I lost a lot of friends. I lost Marco G can say this as well. I lost a lot of friends. Been in arguments, got death threats, all
death
type.
Threats.
That's crazy.
From saying what though?
He be talking strong.
Really?
I say, oh, God, you be talking strong.
But so and
I believe that.
And as well as a lot of brothers, and it hurt my heart. A lot of brothers I was in the Marine Corps with. Now, when I was in the Marine Corps, a lot of things happened. A lot of things was said. A lot of games was played. A whole lot of race games, race crazy. It's
but
a lot of crazy
stick to
stuff.
the subject. You were talking about men and women.
I'm about to jump right in there.
He's smooth. Remember, he takes his time. He's smooth.
The R&B thug. The R&B thug.
Oh yeah.
My coffee's kicking in. I'm like,
it's
what
rhythm
is
and
the
gangster
message?
right now. Yeah, I'm trying to ease it in there.
He's trying to seduce the women while he's easing them in.
He
Not at all.
lubing it up. He was
Wow.
lubing it up. You know what I mean?
Okay,
I think
about
the coffee had you too.
Oh.
Wait, what?
There's something in his coffee. But no, so while talking to a woman, when I was talking to a female, I found her attractive, interested in her. Before I even touch her, we kissing or anything, you gotta sit down and watch this and get some of this good by Uncle Tom. We're gonna have to see what's really on the inside of you before I put myself inside of you.
Amen.
You understand what I'm saying? So like, that's what I was. That's how I am.
That's your test.
That's the test.
That's the litmus paper test, the first one.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yo,
the
but
first
facts, like people feel like men are like.
Hold on.
Please continue.
Let me
get to the point.
Let me touch on what you're talking about. Now, whenever I would bring this to her, She's like, oh my God, I feel comfortable. I'm like, we'll take the hair hat off. Let's take that off. Let's hang that up with my hat.
You said the hair hat?
The hair hat.
Please, talk about it.
Okay, my bad.
I wear hats too, but I could take my hat off.
Yeah, I understand. So
it's still on though.
For those who don't know what a hair hat is, wigs, this, that, and the third, lace fronts, whatever. I joke, we were like, ooh, 59.50, you made with that at? But yeah.
See, but that comment
I said,
even.
No.
I'm gonna interrupt you.
I said, I
like
joke.
Interrupt him, Ayoola.
You putting women down.
No,
you
I'm not.
are.
This is
because that's a woman's choice.
I get it, absolutely.
Which is why we were talking about. You're perpetuating that same
I'm not
negativity.
perpetuating. I ain't being.
Are.
No, I'm not, because this is the girl I have in my confines.
And you told her to take her hair off.
Absolutely.
And how she feel about that?
What you mean? How she feel about it? I don't know how she may feel about it. I asked first.
You're not talking to her on an emotional level.
Yes, I am.
Well, I teach my daughters 100% to love their hair as it is. Like, their hair is a different texture than mine.
Absolutely.
And they will go to school rocking fros and all this other stuff. When they go to their father's house, it's a totally different story.
Why is it a totally different story?
Like, she wants to put them with all these, like, little braids and beads.
Who's she? Oh, her father's?
Well, his fiance.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
And she's a Moza, and the difference is, like, I want them to know from their toes to the very
that
tips
they're
of their
beautiful.
hair.
They don't need to add anything.
They don't have to need anything.
Natural.
Right.
Exactly.
And so that's the only point I was making. But you cut me up before I even got into my date. Like, to my. But wait.
I
understand.
Black women are that beautiful.
Hold on. No, black women are the bomb.
Superior in beauty.
You're right.
In every way.
Strong statement, but I'm saying.
Wait, whoa. Time out. Hold on. I'm feeling
100%.
I'm feeling some vibes over here that I'm agreeing with you a little more than I know that I am.
The reason behind my comment.
Wait a minute. Like,
the reason behind my comment is because of that judgment. Women.
What judgment?
The judgment that if I'm trying to do something that makes me feel good, that you're going to still judge me, is what brings women's self-esteem down.
But who's judging?
You just made a judgmental comment, and it was in a negative connotation.
All right. Well, can I comment on it, please?
No, but I'm commenting on your comment, but you won't let me comment.
Go ahead. Finish. Hold on, wait. Let her comment. Comment.
Are y'all confused too?
No, nobody's. Go ahead.
Listen, the judgment needs to stop. I think once we allow women to say, I want to wear this weave today, I want to wear my wig today, but I want to wear my natural hair tomorrow, and I'm a chameleon, and I love the fact that as a black woman, I accept myself in all different levels, then women become more confident in the judgment from men, because that's the thing. The Afrocentric man, they accept you more when you wear a head wrap, when you wear your hair natural. But if I wear my hair straight, then, you ain't woke enough, you ain't this. It's about my mind.
True.
It's about my mind. It's not about my beauty. It's not
what
about
if your
my
man
lipstick.
was on that tip?
My man is on that tip.
No, if he was a bald-headed dude and then he got the fucking lace front wig. And
they have that for men now. They have that for men.
Because they have that for men now.
And I am intrigued.
Would you embrace your man with him with the cornroll wig?
I am intrigued by
it.
Are you intrigued? Are you turned on?
I would have.
Are you turned on by the cornroll wig?
The R. Kelly Yaki 3.
No, because
I would have that conversation.
that's the way the society is going right now.
Because it's not about me. It's about what makes him feel comfortable, and it's not my opinion to tell what makes you feel comfortable.
Okay.
Some guys are afraid of getting gray, so they dye their hair and they dye their locks and stuff. There are guys out here with locks that are different colors.
Absolutely.
Who am I to tell you that you shouldn't be doing that because it makes you feel confident? Your hair, your shape up. Men these days can't go a week without getting their shape up. Why? Because it increases your confidence. You're
right. I shape my shit up strong.
Yeah, your hairline doesn't naturally occur like that.
From slavery.
Exactly, but your hairline doesn't naturally occur like that.
Okay, now I think
we're
blurring the lines.
I'm talking about now. I'm talking about now.
Okay,
I can't get a shape up now.
It's the same thing. I want to make because that makes you feel good. It makes you feel good.
Okay, that's cool. I want to make one comment because it's not fair that. I asked you, I said, where was the judgment? What was the judging negative comment that I made? Because I want to know what the judging negative comment I made. Because you didn't let me finish my story. I tell you where the young girl came from. Because I think it's wrong and it's not fair if we make a hasty generalization to say this is why everybody does this. This is how everybody takes this comment. That is not fair. That is not fair. Everybody don't wear wigs that it's not there because they make them feel confident. They may feel that they're not beautiful without this, because my little girl would never see herself in any Disney cartoon looking with the hair that her mother have naturally, or the hair that she have naturally, and see herself falling in love with an image that look like her brother or her father. So therefore, she would rather go outside with that blonde wig or anything on that's outside of herself or her father, because she's not comfortable in her own skin. And that beautiful black girl that come in my house, every time, she's just my friend, but every time she came in my house, she said she felt comfortable and she cried. She stripped down everything, took the eyelashes off, the wig off, all of that off, and got down in a towel, butt naked, and cried, saying that the first time she was comfortable in her own skin.
So that's why.
That?
But whenever she came to me, I don't know. Whenever she came to me, I don't know. But that's why I say it's unfair to make that hasty generalization to say that this is why that, this is why that. You sit down and you have a conversation. You have a conversation. I have a strong point.
You do have a strong point, but I definitely believe my point is valid also.
But when it comes to all the way back from children in the slave days, basically looking at the house slaves, where they were most likely mixed with white, lighter skinned, long hair.
That's right.
And they're looking up to them from being outside while their parents are picking cotton, and they're learning how to pick cotton.
That's right.
They're looking inside like these people are better.
I understand that.
All the way back then.
I understand that.
Yes, absolutely. And then every little girl want the happily ever after. I want the white prince, the shining white prince,
the knight in shining armor.
I was mad at
all
Disney.
that type stuff. You
After
understand
my
what
first
I'm saying?
relationship, I was like, Disney life.
Yo, not for nothing. I watch movies with my daughter, and it's like every little kid movie is about a little girl falling in love. There's always
there's a couple.
Always,
there's a couple
that focus
Not
more
you,
on
brother.
friendship that I love, and
name one, please. Name one.
Cruise focuses more on friendship. Is not as highly romantic.
Cruise.
It focuses on familiarity. It's really good.
Is it new?
No, it's old.
It's all about cavemen.
And Hotel Transylvania does have romantic essence to it, but it definitely has a lot more
elements.
But it's not, are they both? They're not Disney.
I don't know if they're Disney, but they're cartoons that kids watch.
Yeah, I got to plug some cartoons real quick, and I know we're not getting paid and like that, but hopefully they'll see this and get in contact with us. And we're not one very dope, Black Sands. I don't know if you heard about it. I know about it.
Where do you find it?
If you know, social media is crazy everywhere. Check it out, Black Sands, Black archaeologists, and we have to support our Black cartoonists.
Yes,
we have to support them, because we're not getting no help from America. We know that already.
Exactly.
We have everything we need within our own confines. Let's reach out to each other and get it popping.
I also want to add to that. I looked up some children's books, and my daughter actually came to me with one of the books that she wanted. I was surprised that they had the conversation one in kindergarten about slavery, and that she actually liked the book. When I read the book, I literally cried, and it's a book that's appropriate for preschool to third graders. It's called Henry's Freedom Box, and it's about the Underground Railroad. Really great illustrations. There's another one that I haven't read, but I found on YouTube. If You Lived When There Was Slavery in America by Anna Kama, Kamma, and it's appropriate for older, 2nd to 5th graders, and it just answers some basic questions about how they lived and other elements. So that's something that our listeners, if you wanted to have a lower level conversation about slavery and expose your kids to that, you can look those up.
That's awesome. That's really good. Wow. I don't have any information like that, but I raised my kids to be like, you're beautiful, you're black, and you're black excellence, and you're going to be a leader in your community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Miss Leanne.
No.
Now, so my
the
question.
Smooth R&B
there you go.
over
Let me put some music.
Yeah. Some of that. Yeah. So
he got even deeper with it.
Yeah, she's even deeper. No, so my question would be for guys like me, right, that deeply love Black women the way they are birthed, and I want them to know that they are loved and they are perfect the way that they are as well. So I noticed that when I talk about a Black woman, I talk to her about herself, about being her natural self, about stripping down this, that, and the third, because she responded to me to the same way that you did at first. At first. But then later on, she was like, wow, you're really like that. You know? So I feel like it's more of like a defense mechanism. Like, wow, you're challenging you're shaking the foundations of my reality.
What I'm used to.
Of my reality, because every other guy like this.
Listen.
All the other guys like this. So how do I come across you and not offend you like that, but still get the same thing? No, I'm not talking about you.
I mean, because what happens is a woman feels like she needs to validate
because
herself.
You took wild offense to that right there. And
because
I was like,
I don't
wow,
want
how's that? I'm just trying to love.
Because you're pushing away people. It's about acceptance. And I think when you make a comment like that, you may not have meant it in a negative way, the hair hat, but a lot of listeners will. And what happens is you push them away.
That's a good point.
Before they hear the message, which is you are beautiful in any way that you are, and before I call you or what you're wearing a name, I am going to accept you.
So, that's what you was talking about. You wasn't talking about the fact that I was saying I was getting her to take it off. Period.
No, it's the name. It's the name that you.
Oh, well, you didn't say that. You should have said that.
Country is funny. You a funny guy.
We're gonna be a little punk about it. You know what I'm saying?
He wasn't listening to
no, I mean it was funny though.
I was listening to you, but how you portrayed it, how you
because
how you served it up. You was like, look. Some people like to do this because of this, and some people like to do this because of that.
And that's true.
And that's how you put it. But there's underlying pain to that. You understand what I'm saying?
You're right. But if you're an advocate for converting a woman into embracing all her beauty, you can't come from that judgmental place. And those small words have a lot of connotation behind it.
It's not judgment.
Listen to yourself, though.
It's not judgment.
Listen to yourself.
Listen, I think both of y'all have to listen to each other.
Yeah,
that's what it. No, you have to understand.
I
you have to understand.
no,
because like as a man, we don't know what it is to be a woman.
Thank you.
We don't know what it is to be a woman.
Thank you.
I shouldn't.
No, we shouldn't.
You should be interested in finding out.
We should be interested in finding out. So when a woman is telling us, "Hey," but that goes vice versa.
You're right.
That goes vice versa.
Right.
So you have to understand.
I would never judge you for having your shape up or dyeing your hair or going to the gym and altering your body in a positive way, because it's about acceptance. And if we're trying to come together and lift each other up, I'm getting passionate, so my accent's coming out. We have to accept each other, and that's the part where we have to accept Cardi B. We have to accept her and understand her history and why she is the way she is, and accept all the levels in between.
That's interesting, but nobody said there wasn't accepting her. We were just talking about not her as an individual, but I understand what you mean. I get it. But
did we learn anything today?
Raising black kids in America is not easy.
It's not.
This is a topic that can continue to go on for.
We're still trying to raise ourselves. I'm still trying to figure it out.
100%.
Hey,
100%. That's a very bold statement. I agree with that statement.
Knowledge is infinite.
Exactly.
Listen, it was another exciting episode of the Culture Society podcast. We appreciate everybody for watching. We appreciate everybody for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully, we're getting better as we go along. Hopefully, you guys think the same. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. You know what? Culture Society, we out.
Hey.
Bye, guys.